For over 300 years, the Galactic Council chamber had one empty seat. It was the seat of Earth. A small blue and white symbol still marked it old, faded, but untouched. No one dared remove it. No one respected it either. Most council members saw it as a joke now. They were weak, said High Speaker Varn of the Zarnok Empire. Always emotional, always loud. Earth is dust. Let it stay dust. Others laughed with him. The new generations didn't even believe humans had ever been powerful. Most thought Earth was just a story told to scare young diplomats. A myth, a warning, something about betrayal and exile, but no one cared enough to check. Then everything changed in one moment. A signal. It wasn't loud or long. It came through an old frequency, one the Council had not used in centuries. Most communication systems ignored it. But the ancient machines deep beneath the Council's main tower machines, built during the First Galactic Age, recognized the signal. One word, one voice, one message. Coming. That same night, alarms rang inside the security center of the Council. The tech team ran scans, checked for errors, and looked confused. The signal didn't match any known race. It was clean, powerful, and simple. It repeated every 6 hours, and each time it became louder and sharper. "Do we know the source?" asked Admiral Trask of the Corps Guard. "Not yet, sir," the technician replied, "but we think it's from the outer edge of Sector 9. "Sector 9, Trask raised an eyebrow. "That's dead space." "Yes, sir," the tech whispered. "That's near Sol System, near Earth." The room fell silent back in the Council chamber, fear mixed with laughter. The humans. "That's impossible," Varn said with a smirk. "Their homeworld was destroyed. If they had ships, we would have seen them by now." "We never found their bodies," whispered Counselor HEC of the Valari. "We never found their fleet either." Varn looked annoyed. "Are you suggesting they survived?" "I'm suggesting we stop laughing." The Council decided to send a scout ship to Sector 9. Fast, small, and silent. The mission, find the signal and return. 3 days later, the scout ship entered the edge of Sol System. 2 minutes after that, all contact was lost. The scout ship didn't crash. It didn't send a distress call. It simply vanished. No signal, no trace, nothing. At first, the Council said it was a system failure. A black hole, maybe, or cosmic dust. They tried to stay calm, but deep down, they all felt something cold, something old. It was fear. The same fear their ancestors once felt when Earth last spoke. Old records were unlocked. Files buried deep in the Council archives were read for the first time in centuries. Historians and intelligence officers dug through history like miners searching for a lost gem. They found warnings. They found betrayal. Long ago, Earth had helped build the Council. They had shared science, defense tech, and even taught peace to violent species. But humans were always feared because of their one strange gift. They adapted to fast every war, every new enemy, every challenged humanity grew stronger. Their ships changed. Their soldiers became more powerful. Their minds evolved. The Council grew afraid. So they turned on Earth. Lies were spread, attacks were made. And finally, Earth was exiled from all galactic systems. Most believed Earth fell into ruin. But what if they didn't? The signal was growing now. It wasn't just coming. It had more words. "You chose your fate. We return to remind you." The voice was still calm, still human, but behind it was something else. Something dark, like thunder, just before. A storm. Panic slowly spread across the galaxy. The smaller races began to prepare evacuation plans. The stronger ones began activating old defense systems. Even Varn stopped laughing. In the shadows, a few races remembered Earth's kindness. The ones who were saved by human fleets during the Age of War, they spoke in whispers. One message was passed secretly between them. If the humans have returned, do not fight, do not run, just listen. On the 6th day, the signal stopped. Complete silence. No voice, no message, nothing. Some felt relief. Others feared the silence more than the signal. Then, on the 7th day, a ship appeared. Not in a system, not near a planet, right above the Council world itself. It didn't come through normal space. It didn't warp in or use a gate. It simply appeared. It was black. No windows, no lights, no energy readings. But it was massive, bigger than any ship the Council had ever built. No name, no flag, but every sensor said the same thing. Origin. Human. The council froze. The guards aimed weapons. Defense platforms locked on target. And then a message was broadcast on every screen, every speaker, every neural net in the galaxy. This galaxy forgot who we are. Let us remind them. The council. The world had never been this quiet. No ships moved. No voices echoed. Every system was locked. Every being watched the same dark shape in orbit, the giant human ship that appeared without warning. But now, the silence was breaking. The signal had returned. This time, it wasn't just a word. It was a countdown. T-minus 168 hours. Prepare for judgment. Inside the security chamber, the highest officers of the Galactic Council stared at the message. Admiral Trask's face was pale. They're counting down to something. "What happens at 0? A young officer asked. No one answered. In the deep chambers below the council tower, old memories were waking. Machines that hadn't moved in 300 years suddenly came alive. Archive servers flickered. Old warning codes played. One file had only 2 words, Sol Protocol. When the council opened it, a voice played. A human voice, calm, serious, and clear. "If you are hearing this, then we have returned. Not for peace, not for war, for memory." The council gathered once again. High Speaker Varn was no longer mocking. His voice was shaky. "We must act now. Destroy the ship before the countdown ends." Counselor Maytek of the Valari shook her head. "We can't. Our defense systems aren't responding." "What do you mean?" Varn shouted. "I mean, the ship didn't attack," she replied. "It just ... turned off our weapons." Across the galaxy, strange things began to happen. In Sector 3, a trade fleet lost control of navigation. In Sector 5, a military satellite exploded without reason. In Sector 12, an ancient alien vault opened on its own. Inside was a human flagon touched by time. Someone, somewhere, had been planning this return for a long time. A council scientist named Jorek uncovered a secret. While scanning the human ship, he found a second signal hidden behind the countdown. He decoded it with ancient Earth data. It was a list, names, dates, coordinates. It showed every species that betrayed humanity 300 years ago. It showed who attacked their colonies, who gave the final vote to ban Earth. At the top of the list was High Speaker Von's Empire. Von was sweating now. "This is personal," he whispered. "This isn't a war. This is revenge." On day 3, something terrifying happened. Another ship appeared. It was smaller but faster, sleeker, and had markings in an unknown human dialect. It didn't send a message. It didn't need to. It circled the council planet once, then vanished. When it left, every screen in the galaxy lit up again. You had your chance. You chose betrayal. Now witness our memory. In the galaxy's outer rim, planets began losing power. Cities turned dark. Communications fell silent. But there was no damage, no bombs, no attacks, just silence. And in that silence, old stories came back. Children once heard tales of Earth's fire, of the Leviathan ships that moved faster than light, of the day Earth vanished not because it was weak, but because it didn't want to play the Council's game anymore. Now, those stories didn't feel like tales. They felt like warnings. A secret message reached the Council from a distant race-tathon, a species once saved by humans during the Great Hive War. Their message was short: do not fight, do not run. Remember mercy. On day 5, Counselor MTCs stood before the Council and made a bold move. "We must speak to them," she said. "They are human, they remember, and maybe they will listen." MTAC prepared a peace transmission. She spoke into the ancient human frequency. "This is Counselor Matek of the Valari. We welcome peaceful communication. We regret the actions of the past." No response. The countdown continued. T-minus 72 hours. But MTAC wasn't done. "We believe Earth was wronged. Many of us were not part of that betrayal. I ask only this: what do you want?" The human ship responded, but not with a message. Instead, it broadcast a video across the galaxy. It showed human cities burning human children, hiding human fleets, destroyed by Council weapons. Then it ended with a single line: "We want the truth remembered and the traitors judged." On day 6, panic spread across Council worlds. Evacuation plans started. Allies turned on each other. Everyone was afraid, not of death, but of what Earth might do without firing a single shot, because, so far, humanity hadn't attacked. They only arrived, and still, the entire galaxy was falling apart. As the countdown reached 48 hours, rumors grew. Some said Earth had built machines that could silence stars. Others claimed their AI gods had returned. With them, one whispered that Earth had made a deal with death itself. But one thing was clear now: humanity didn't come to talk. They came to remind, and the galaxy was listening. The countdown was nearing its end. T-minus 36 hours. And still, the human ship said nothing more. No threats, no attack. It just floated above the Council world like a giant shadow. Still, silent. Watching, but now, something new appeared. Another ship. This one was even larger. A shape the galaxy had never seen before. It wasn't smooth. It wasn't pretty. Its surface was jagged, covered in armor that looked like layers of dead metal, burnt, scarred, and ancient. Some parts glowed red, like they had survived fire. There were no windows, no lights, no markings. It looked like a broken world turned into a ship. But every scanner agreed. It was alive. Inside the Council's War Command Tower, alarms screamed. New object detected. Size, unknown. Power reading, off all charts. Admiral Trask stared at the hologram of the new ship. He couldn't speak. No, one could. Even the computers were struggling to define it. One word kept flashing across every screen: unclassified. High Speaker Varn slammed his fist on the table. This is madness. We must fire now. Counselor Metek spoke softly. We already tried that. Our weapons are still offline. The humans, ... disabled everything without touching it. Varen shouted. Then let's run, Admiral Trask replied. We can't. The ships in orbit won't move. It's like they've been frozen. The second ship moved closer. Still no sound, no signal, just quiet pressure, like the galaxy itself was holding its breath. Then, one word appeared on every display. Not spoken, not sent, just appeared. Memory. Suddenly, every species across the galaxy saw the same vision. It wasn't a message. It wasn't a threat. It was a memory pulled from Earth's past. A burning planet, screaming children. Human cities crushed under Council bombardment. Earth's ships fleeing into deep space. A final cry from humanity: we will remember. In that moment, billions of aliens watched the truth, the betrayal, the lies, the exile, and the silence that followed. The memory ended. The ship still hovered, nameless, voiceless, but full of purpose. Some races now spoke in fear. They survived all. This time, they didn't just survive, they evolved. A message from a hidden council. Spy came from a dark system near the galactic rim. It showed something terrifying. Earth hadn't sent just 2 ships. There were more. A fleet hidden in deep space was slowly waking up, and every ship had no name, no identification. They weren't here to talk. They were here to show the truth, and then judge. Accusations flew. You voted to exile them. You gave weapons to their enemies. You laughed when Earth burned. Varn shouted over them. It doesn't matter. We must find a way to fight. MTC stood tall. You still don't understand, Varn. This is not a war we can win. This is a judgment we cannot escape. Across the galaxy, strange events continued. In Sector 14, an old Council base was found destroyed not by weapons, but by time reversal. It looked like it had aged 1,000 years in 1 second. In Sector 7, a warlord known for killing human refugees dropped dead. No attack, no poison, just ... gone. On one moon, every machine stopped, and then one word carved itself into the rock. Remember. The nameless ship finally moved. It slowly rotated in orbit, and its hull opened slightly, but no weapons came out. Instead, something dropped, a small capsule. It fell into the Council capital, crashing near the Grand Tower, but did not explode. Security forces surrounded it, waiting for an attack. But the capsule simply opened. Inside was a single human object, an old, torn Earth flag, stained with blood and fire. And underneath it, one message: this is not our revenge. This is your memory. The countdown continued. T-minus 24 hours, and now. The galaxy waited not for war, but for something worse. The truth, the countdown continued. 2. Giant human ships floated above the council world like silent gods. No one slept, no one spoke without fear. The people of the galaxy looked to their leaders, but the council had no answers. Their weapons were off, their systems still frozen, their escape paths blocked. Then, something happened, something that hadn't happened in 300 years. A human voice spoke. It didn't come through normal channels. It didn't use language translation. It simply appeared inside the minds of every living being in the galaxy. The voice was clear, calm, deep. This is Saul's memory. You laughed when Earth fell. You cheered when we burned. Now, remember what you did. All across the galaxy, screens lit up again. But this time, they didn't show Earth's past. They showed the faces of the traitors. Every council vote, every backroom deal, every order to bomb human colonies, even secret meetings where leaders agreed to lie and silence Earth forever. Names, dates, faces exposed to everyone. On trading worlds, riots began. On military planets, officers disappeared trying to hide. On peaceful colonies, people demanded answers from their governments. The entire galaxy had seen the truth. Earth didn't die by accident. It was betrayed. And now, those who betrayed it were being judged. Back in the council chamber, chaos ruled. Many leaders had already fled. Some tried to send messages of apology. Others begged the human ship for forgiveness. But there was no answer, only the voice. Do not want your apology. We want your silence. Suddenly, systems across the galaxy went offline. Satellites fell, weapons powered down. Spaceports stopped working. Even personal devices, communication pads, ships' AI systems all stopped responding. Everything, digital and mechanical, went dark. Humanity had turned off the galaxy. How are they doing this? Admiral Trask asked, shaking. They have control of the Cornet, MTCAC whispered. The humans. They rewrote the foundation code of the galaxy's systems. But how? That code is older than the Council. MTech replied with fear in her eyes, because humans helped build it. The voice returned, This is not war, this is memory. You erased us. So now we erase your comfort, not your lives, but your lies. On one council world, every government building was marked with a symbol, a red planet, surrounded by fire. On another world, statues of the council founders melted into piles of ashdot in space. Cargo ships stopped mid-flight. Passenger ships floated without power, yet no one was harmed. No bomb dropped, no soldier invaded, just silence and fear. A young Valari officer stood in front of a camera and spoke. We were taught that humans vanished because they were weak. But now I see, the truth, they didn't vanish, they went silent. So one day they could return. Varn sat alone in his chamber, the once proud high speaker of the Zarnok Empire, now pale and shaking. He looked at the list of war crimes the human ship had. Released. His name was at the top. He tried to speak to the human voice. I was young. I followed orders. But the voice interrupted. You voted for fire. Now you live in shadow. In one part of the galaxy, stars dimmed for a full hour. Then they returned brighter than before. People whispered. They didn't destroy anything. They just wanted us to feel powerless. A secret human ally, the Tharn species, finally sent a message. Do not fight. Do not fear. The humans are not here to kill you. They are here to teach you what fear really feels like. The countdown hit T-minus 12 hours, and the voice spoke once more. We are not here for revenge. We are not monsters, but every empire must remember the blood it spilled. You forgot us. Now, remember. In the darkness, a third human ship appeared. Smaller, faster. Its shape unlike anything seen before. This one had a name on its hull. For the first time, the galaxy read it. Saul's Wrath. No weapons moved, no attack began, but every race, every planet, every system now understood something very clearly. Earth had returned, not with fire, but with fear. And they had not even shown their full power, yet the entire galaxy was holding its breath. 3 human ships floated above the council world. No weapons, no demands, just silence. But it was the kind of silence that crushed hope. And then A new message appeared across all systems. Judgment begins now. The screen flickered. The image of an alien world appeared, a small planet in Sector 6, home of the Darvok species. Long ago, this world sent fleets to destroy human colonies during Earth's exile. Now, Earth remembered. The screen zoomed in. People on that planet looked up. They saw a dark shadow cover their sky. A shape blocked their sun, one of the human ships, and then ... The planet went dark. No sound, no fire, no explosion, just silence. Power gone. Machines dead. Communication cut within minutes. The entire planet was turned into a silent tomb, not destroyed, but disconnected. And above it, a message formed in the clouds. Judgment passed. Back in the council chamber, the leaders were panicking. Why didn't they destroy it? One asked. They didn't need to, Emtek said quietly. They made an example. Then the second target came. A war moon of the Craven Empire. Once used to launch chemical bombs on human outposts, the same thing happened. A ship appeared. The moon went dark, and another message was carved into its surface by unknown energy. We remember, across the galaxy, fear turned to chaos. Ships tried to flee, planets begged for mercy. Old war criminals tried to hide, but they couldn't run. Humanity wasn't attacking with guns, they were using memory. They showed the galaxy every act of betrayal, every moment where mercy was denied, every vote that led to Earth's suffering. The truth was the weapon now, and no one could stop it. Admiral Trask stood in the war room, helpless. We trained for invasions, for battles, he whispered. Not for ... This, Counselor M replied, this is worse than war. This is justice. Another planet once home to scientists who helped create anti-human viruses was next. But this time, something different happened. The ship hovered above the world and left no blackout, no punishment. Instead, a single message. They warned us, we didn't listen. That world had changed. They had protected human refugees after the exile. They had buried human children with respect. They had sent a message of peace. Long ago, Earth had remembered that too, not just betrayal, but kindness. Now the message was clear. Earth's judgment was fair. Only the guilty suffered. Only the betrayers feared the countdown. Meanwhile, the countdown reached T-6 hours, and something incredible happened. A small council ship was allowed to approach the lead human ship Saul's Wrath. Inside it, Counselor Medek sat alone. She was afraid, but she had to speak. As her ship docked, the airlock opened. No guards, no weapons, just a dark corridor and silence. She stepped inside after several minutes. She reached a glowing room. A tall figure waited for her, a human wearing a black uniform. Eyes like burning stars. He said nothing. Mech spoke first. Why now? After so many years? The man replied, because we wanted to know if the galaxy had changed. And has it? The human paused, then said, some parts, others. Not yet, MTX asked. What do you want from us? He looked at her, calm and serious. Not your apology, not your surrender, just your truth. Back outside, across the galaxy, more messages appeared. You feared our power. But it was your lies that created it. You forgot us, but we never forgot you. We were silent. But now, your silence begins. And then, the countdown reached T-3 hours. But this time, there was no fear. There was only one question. What would happen when the clock hit 0? Some hoped for peace. Others feared extinction. But one thing was sure. Humanity had returned. Not with an army, but with judgment. The council chamber had never been this quiet. Every species, every delegate, every emperor sat, frozen. All eyes stared at the center of the chamber, where a single figure now stood, a human, alive, breathing, and very, very calm. The silence was broken not by a scream, not by a weapon, but by his voice, his words echoing through the giant chamber, and I have a message from Earth. The walls almost seemed to vibrate from his words. Every translator chip translated them instantly. Every species, from the tiny-eyed Vrula to the armored Grotal, understood him perfectly. Yet it wasn't just the words that made them feel uneasy, it was the power behind them. One of the council members, a snake-like being from the Sirac Empire, hissed Impossible. Humans were extinct. Captain Elias smiled just a little. You believed what you were told. You believed Earth was broken. But you never came close to understanding humanity. The room tensed. Weapons were being slowly prepared under robes. Defense shields were being quietly activated, but Elias raised his hand. Don't. I didn't come here to destroy you. Not yet. Gasps filled the room. Flashback suspense hook. 5 to 7 min mark, it was 5 days ago. Deep in the lost systems beyond Council borders. A scout ship had discovered something terrifying, a signal. A human signal. The ship's AI had tried to decode it. But it wasn't meant for machines. It was a voice, a whisper. We are coming back. The signal was ancient and strong, carried on dark channels no longer used. Sent from a region known as the Dead Sectors, once Earth's territory before they were purged by Council firebombers 100 years ago. That single message had triggered alarms across the galaxy. The Council met in emergency. Fleets were sent. Surveillance probes vanished. And then a human warship appeared, black as void, with no energy signature. It didn't attack. It just hovered in orbit near the Council core planet. Then it sent Elias Vorn to the chamber. Back in the chamber, Elias continued speaking. You destroyed Earth. You sent fleets. You wiped out our cities. But what you didn't understand was that humans do not die easily. He turned and walked slowly around the circle of seats, staring at each species. You thought we were gone? But we went deeper. Ships under black suns. We trained soldiers who no longer fear pain. And now we've returned, not to beg, not to fight yet, but to remind you. A hologram blinked into existence. It showed 10 massive objects floating in deep space. What you're seeing, Elias said calmly, are Leviathans. Each one is a human world ship, self-sustaining, heavily armed, invisible to your scanners. We didn't come here with one ship. We came with a fleet of ghosts. The Draenari Emperor stood, shaking. Why are you telling us this? Is it a threat? No, Elias said. It's a warning. We remember what you did, and we've prepared. Your next decision will decide the galaxy's future. He dropped a single device on the Council floor. A black cube. It pulsed with soft red light. That is a memory cube, he said. Inside is everything. Human history, human rage, human revenge. But none moved, because something had changed. Every Council member felt it in their bones. This wasn't just a message. This was the beginning of something they could no longer control. Closing suspense for next part. As Elias turned to leave, a voice whispered through the chamber. A soft, ancient voice from the shadows. One that hadn't spoken in centuries. Double quotes, ... Elias. Vorn, it said. I knew your father. Elias stopped. The chamber fell into dead silence again, because that voice came from Seat 0, the ancient, forbidden chair reserved for the first creators. No one had sat there in 1,000 years, yet now it was no longer empty. The hall of the Galactic Council was full. Every species, every empire, every leader had come. Whispers filled the air. Fear was spreading like fire. The name humanity had returned to every star map, every report, every conversation, and now a strange signal was being received. It wasn't just a normal signal. It was coming from a part of space that the galaxy called the Voida Dead Zone, silent for thousands of years. No empire dared to go there. Ships vanished in that black space, and no answers ever came back. But now, a transmission came, and it began with only 3 words. We are watching. High Chancellor Vorex stood slowly. His skin normally dark and Hard looked pale. He turned to his advisor. Where is the source of this message? He asked, his voice shaking. The reply came with fear. It's not just one source. The same signal came from 10,000 directions. At once, that shocked everyone. The council fell silent again. 10,000 directions. That wasn't one ship. That wasn't a fleet. That was something bigger, far bigger. Meanwhile, in the outer edges of the council's territory, strange things began to happen. Ships disappeared. Not just 1 or 2, hundreds. Entire defense systems went offline. Planets received brief messages from strange voices that sounded human. Some recordings showed Shadow's massive warships moving through space without being detected. They didn't fire, they didn't speak, they only watched, and then they vanished. No, one could track them in the Council's intelligence chamber. Panic was growing. "The humans are not using regular ships," said an older commander. "They are cloaked, hidden from scanners, and they are testing us." "Testing us?" a young general asked. "Yes," he replied. "They're watching how we respond, measuring our fear, learning our weaknesses." "But why?" someone else asked. "Why not attack now?" And that's when the room fell quiet again, because everyone realized the same terrible truth. Humanity wasn't in a hurry. They didn't need to strike fast. They had already returned. They were just waiting for the right moment. Back at the Council Hall, a new alert came in. Another message, but this one wasn't just a signal. It was a hologram. A figure appeared in the air. It was human, a man in black armor, his eyes glowing faintly. The background behind him was full of stars, but they looked warped, like space itself was bending. He didn't speak at first. He just stared. Then he gave a calm, cold smile, and finally he said, "We gave you peace. You gave us exile. We gave you warnings. You gave us mockery. We came in peace. You feared our strength. Now we return without kindness." Then the hologram vanished. Nothing more, but it was enough. Panic broke out in the Council. Were ordered to prepare. Armies were told to ready defenses. Emergency plans were activated, but nothing worked, because the next thing they saw was worse. All the Council's maps suddenly updated. Every major trade route, every military base, every hidden supply zone was now marked with a red dot. And next to every dot was a small message. "Target acquired." "How?" roared Chancellor Vorix. "How do they know our secrets?" His voice echoed across the chamber, and the answer came from the intelligence chief. "We don't know, Chancellor, but we suspect something terrible." "What is it?" The chief swallowed hard. Humans never left. Across the galaxy, hidden stations, long thought to be abandoned now, showed movement. Old satellites activated ancient data systems, blinked on, and ships, shaped like death itself, moved in shadows. It was now clear. Humanity had been preparing in silence, watching, learning, planning, and now they were done watching. The storm was near. The galaxy had mocked Earth. Now Earth would answer. With fire, the Galactic Council chamber was completely silent. Not a single alien leader spoke. Not a single translator device buzzed. All eyes were locked. On the holographic image now standing in the center of the room, it was Earth's representative, Admiral Kale. Standing tall, calm, and ready, behind him, through the open communication channel, floated the Colossus-class human dreadnought, orbiting above the Council's home planet. Its massive shadow blocked out nearby stars. Smaller ships moved around it, like insects serving a giant beast. The same Colossus that had wiped out the Kravix Armada, destroyed the Zarnon Moonforge, and forced 6 empires to surrender in a single day. Kale took one step forward. "You called?" "Earth Week," Kale said. His voice was soft, but each word hit harder than a missile. "You laughed when we left. You erased us from your records. Now look at your skies. Outside, another human ship uncloaked, and then another. Dozens of warships appeared, surrounding the Council's planet. Some were old models. Some had never been seen before. And at the center of them all floated Eclipse 1, Earth's oldest AI, warbrain rumored to be so powerful it could shut down an entire solar system. Panic started to spread across the chamber. The Dralax ambassador fainted. The Varnese delegation whispered to each other, planning evacuation. And the Zentari Queen. She tried to open a portal, but Earth's signal had already locked the system. "You want peace now," Kyle said. "But peace was offered long ago. Before you mocked us. Before you betrayed our alliance. Before you called us extinct." The Council's supreme leader stood up slowly. His voice trembled. "We didn't know. We didn't understand what Earth was truly capable of." Kale smiled slightly. "That was your mistake." Then he raised his hand. On his signal, Earth's warships pulled back their weapons, but didn't leave. Instead, they held position. Kale looked at every council member and said the final words. "Earth does not want your war. We don't need your council. From now on, we are not part of your galaxy. But if you ever again threaten our people, mock our name, or touch our allies, know this." He paused. His eyes turned cold. "You will not get a warning next time. Then the hologram vanished. The chamber was still silent. The galaxy had changed forever.